In this AlphaCam Express presentation on basic design, we'll show you how you can create the 6 doors there you see using CAD geometry and Edit geometry. There are many different ways to draw within AlphaCam. I could draw this rectangle starting from a datum of 00, 0, and I'm going to work my way around these 4 corners. So the X I want is 500 in X and 0 in Y. I want X to remain the same, so just enter, and Y to become 600. I want to come back to X0, or I could just put in there minus 500. And if I press F4, it'll automatically close that for me. Next, I'm going to create that internal rectangle. There's a couple of ways I can do that. I could have created the external using this rectangle command. I want to do that from 70 tab 70, and then the top corner is going to be 500 minus 70 and 600 minus 70. An alternative way of doing that, if I undo it, I could have used under offset, under edit, the offset command, a distance of 70 millimeter all the way around this geometry. Click the geometry, click inside. That's completed that original door. So now we will use the under edit, we'll use the repeat that, and the pitch I want is 700 in X, don't want to move in Y, and I want 3 of them. Now I'm going to create this radius on these doors. I could do that using the arc command, but it's easier just to use the fillet command under edit. So fillet a distance of 50 all the way around this profile. Next to fillet there's also the option of chamfer. Same thing again, 50 millimeters in X, 50 millimeters in Y, this being the X and this being the Y. All. Click that, and very quickly I've created these 3 rectangular doors. We'll now look at creating this single top arch door. I don't know the radius of that, but I do know it's struck from a point which is 120 millimeters from the top, about the midpoint of this top rail. So I can again use the offset command. I'm going to offset 120 minus 70, which is probably 50, from this line. That again gives me something that I can strike this arc from. So coming to arc, start point, second point and end point. I can say the start point is the end point of here, the midpoint is the midpoint of this top one, and then the end point of here. I then want to delete some of these geometries, so I can use the trim command. Take that arch as being like the trimming scissors, and then the things I want to remove. And now I need to come in, join this together. The next one on is really just a mirror of the first one. So I'm going to copy that internal from the base point at the bottom left hand corner of that door to the bottom left hand corner of this door. I could create the bottom arch the same way as I did the top. Alternatively, I could do a mirror. So I'm going to create myself a mirror line about the midpoint of the external of the door, pressing F7, midpoint of there, and I'm going to trim this back. So back into trim. This is the cutting geometries, this is what I want to remove, and then we'll come into edit and we'll use the mirror command. Mirror this, it asks me for the mirror line, we'll say the endpoint pressing F6 and the endpoint pressing F6, then keep the original yes. Then all that's needed to do is delete the mirror line. Now we'll look at creating this cathedral arch door. We'll do an offset of 70 from the whole of the geometry. Then got another couple of offsets of 40 millimeter to produce. So spacebar repeats that command of 40 millimeters as a line. And then another offset, this time the 50 millimeters, to give us the point from which we can strike the arc. So I can use the trim command at this point if I wish. It might make life a little easier if I select these And the bits I want to delete are these two, and actually I don't need that center either. So now I can create my arc, start point, second point and end point, from the end point of here, the midpoint of here, and pressing F6 again to the end point of there. We'll use the trim command again, these two trimming geometries, and I want to remove this and this. And now we'll join, or we'll put a fillet radius, I think it was 50 individually between these two. Fillet radius select individually between these two and between these two. All that's left then is to join, and I can say join all, and we've completed our 3 top arch doors. This concludes this AlphaCam Express presentation on basic design. We showed you how you can use CAD geometry and edit geometry to produce the 6 doors on the screen. For additional information on editing geometry within AlphaCam, there are 3 further movies under the Editing Geometry series showing you how you can create the 3 parts you see there on the screen. Thank you for your time.